Hello everyone, thanks for tuning into today's video. We're going to have a look at weather next 8 to 10 days. In today's video, this takes us into the first week of October. Looks like high pressure's building in, as has been advertised over the past few days. So over weekend, we're going to see the high pressure building, and it's going to be sticking around for next week. I've got a little bit of a discrepancy about how much influence we get from the east through next week. If we bring in easterly winds, we could bring in quite a lot of cloud, and maybe in some showery bursts of rain. There was a suggestion within the model output yesterday, and I blogged about this last night, that we might sort of get a bit of retrogression and take that high pressure towards Greenland, possibly setting up northerly winds as we go through towards the end of the first week of October, so around 7th, 8th of the month. That's gone away a little bit from the models this morning, but I wouldn't totally discount the idea that in the end this high pressure could retrogress. It may take a little while to get there though. So we'll have a look at all the charts in a moment. We're going to start off with this one, which is a very interesting chart that's been posted in the comment section of the website. If you've not checked out the comment section of Gaz Service, I'll show you how to get there in a moment. But before I get on with all of that, just say about the ads, it's things articles on all pages at gazservice.com, at gazservice.com. If you can have a browse through the widgets, you'll be helping to pay for the website, and thanks very much for doing that. There's also video ads on some page they open up in the content. When you've watched them, they'll close back up again. Thanks very much for getting involved and doing that. So this chart was posted last night in the comment section by Harry, and this is supposedly, I'm not sure how reliable it is, but apparently this is from the winter of 1683-1684, a reanalysis chart. That was an extraordinarily cold winter, and I just want to throw this in because you might enjoy seeing it. So if this is right, this is how the 3 months of winter of 1683-84 look from a synoptic sort of setup, with a lot of blocking from the North Pole going down in towards the northern part of the UK, the jet stream going through the floor in towards North Africa, a bit like that, and that was an exceptionally cold winter with a huge amount of blocking there up over the North Pole. This was right in the middle of the Maunder minimum, of course, when we're getting many severe winters, but this was one of the coldest winters of all, so we can actually see what the Central England temperature for this winter was. The Central England temperature from Hadley goes all the way back to 1659, and this is the year that we're interested in just here, 1683-1684. So we've got 1684 just there, and January 1684 came out at -3 in terms of the Central England temperature, with February at -1. This is one of the all-time coldest winters on record. December came out, December 1683 came out at 0.5 degrees. So the 3 months as a whole really were exceptionally cold, but particularly around January. That is around a degree colder than January 1963, and of course we think of January 1963 as the all-time sort of coldest winter, but if you go back into the depths of the Maunder minimum, years like this, 1684, 1740, you actually find years that were even colder with winters than 1963. So I just want to start off with that. Thanks very much to Harry for posting that on the comment part of the website last night. If you haven't been to the comment section of gazservice.com, this is the homepage for Gazservice, and you can get to the comment section just by clicking the button at the top of the page that says chat. That'll take you off to the comment box, and then the comments load up. It can take a little bit of time for the comments to load up, but they will eventually get there. This is going to load up in a moment. There we go, we've loaded up the comment box. I didn't think that was going to work for the video, but it has loaded up the comments, and there are the comments, and you can join the conversation. There's Harry's posting that chart, and so I've got some very interesting pictures being posted there by David, which is pictures from the frost fairs of that winter, 1683-84. So cold in that winter that the Thames froze over to the point where there was fairs actually held on the ice of the River Thames. That couldn't happen now. If we got a winter that cold, that couldn't happen now, simply because they put bridges over the Thames, and it sort of sped up the rate at which the Thames flows, if you like. So even if we got a winter back cold, now we couldn't get the frost fares that they used to hold there. Anyway, I've started on a bit of a tangent. Let's get back to the next week to 10 days. And these are the 500 millibar high anomaly flow charts for the next week to 10 days. We've got the ECMWF here on the top, and the GFS is over on the bottom, or is on the bottom. 500 millibars, 8,000 feet is now in absolute high pressure, low pressure are being moved around by the jet stream running above. So I've got red extrapolating to high pressure and blue extrapolating to low pressure. What both of these models are seeing for the next week to 10 days, which takes into the first week of October, is for high pressure to be dominating. They do differ a little bit in terms of the exact position. The ECMWF wants to have that high pressure ever so slightly to the north and northwest, which brings the jet stream through like that, whereas the GFS wants to have it a little bit to the east and the northeast, which brings the flow through something like that. So there is a little bit of discrepancy between the exact positioning of this high pressure, whether it'll retrogress into the Atlantic or stay to the east. But they all sort of agree that high pressure will be dominant as we go through the first week of October. So the GFS temperature and precipitation ensembles are reflecting this quite nicely. Dealing with temperatures. First of all, the red line here is the 30-year temperature average. We're still below average, as we have been through most of September. Going to be, I think, the coldest September, or the coolest September since 1993. We're going to see a push up in the temperatures over the final couple of days of the month, and we're going to go a little bit above average probably into the start of October. These are upper air temperatures, though. We have to bear in mind down on the surface, particularly if this is a clear high, we're going to get cold nights. So even though the upper air temperatures are going a bit above average, actually we do have to start thinking maybe a little bit about, well, not quite inversions. It's not later yet to start getting an inversion of the high pressure, but we do probably have to start thinking about the temperature not quite reflecting actually what the upper air temperatures are showing underneath anticyclonic conditions. But they will get a bit of a boost by day, but with chilly nights. So there is a lot of scattering there, and some of those ensemble members are actually quite cold. Perhaps more reliably is the dry spell that's coming up. The precipitation spikes on the bottom completely vanish for the final few days of September, and they don't really come back until the very end of the chart, which is going into the final week of, or into the end of the first week of October. So it looks like we're in for quite a prolonged spell of dry weather, actually, although we may bring in some showers on easterly winds next week. This is the temperature anomaly for the coming week. It shows it's going to be a bit below average. This is probably being affected more than anything by cooler nights, actually. I don't think the days will be all that cool, especially if we get through to next week, but there could be some quite cold nights, maybe even with the first sort of frost of the season. So from the 24th of September through to the 2nd of October, we are coming out a little bit cooler than average. Very dry through the course of the coming week, much drier than average conditions. Here's the GFS generic chart. The Monday, the high pressure is in across the country, dominating the weather. There's that easterly. The very latest run of the GFS wants to bring that easterly more through France, actually just keeps us under the anticyclonic conditions. But that high pressure could be a little bit further north than that and bring the easterly winds into the south, which, if it comes off, could at least bring cloud and some cooler temperatures into the south and southeast. By Thursday, just a little trough running through northern France. We'll have to watch out for that. May bring some showers into the south and southeast, but really it's still high pressure dominating throughout next week. And by day 10, actually very little change. The high pressure is still in there across Central Europe, still bringing up these southeast winds. That could be getting quite warm, actually, if we're tapping into sort of there from North Africa and the Mediterranean. We could be lifting the temperatures up a bit into the first week of October. The GFS, that was GFS. The ECM wants to take that high pressure out to the west, so on the high anomaly chart. So for Monday, the high pressure is in across the country, and as we go through Tuesday into Wednesday, the high pressure doesn't really change its position, very dominant just to the east. But by the time we get through to Thursday, just signs of retrogression here, with the high pressure beginning to pull out into the UK and actually going a little bit to the west of us by the time we get through to Friday. We aren't pulling in a cold or a cooler northerly wind. That sort of northerly shot is going down into Scandinavia, possibly bringing the first sort of snow flurries to parts of Scandinavia. But we remain close enough to the high pressure not to have to worry about that. But nevertheless, the high is changing its position there, retrogress retrogressing a little bit to the east of the country. And we end up on day 10 again with that high pressure just a little bit centred to the west, still very dominant, more or less over the country, but it is ever so slightly to the west. And there's that northerly shot coming down in Scandinavia. We've got to watch out if it does retrogress, this high pressure. We've got to watch out for how far it retrogresses. Eventually we may pull in these cooler northerly winds, but at the moment it looks like those northerly winds are going down into Scandinavia and Western Russia, possibly bringing an early start to winter for them. So I think we're going to be in for a lot of dry weather next week, and high pressure going to be dominating. It'll be warm by day with temperatures into the mid to upper teens Celsius. That's not too bad for the start of October, but by night it could be quite cold, and of course we've got to watch out for these easterly winds. If we do get them, they'll bring in more cloud, especially to the south and the east, possibly even a few showery bursts of rain, but not a huge amount going on next week. We're going to start October under high pressure. That's it for now. We're doing the JMA month head look ahead. Tomorrow it's JMA Friday, so come back for that. But that's all for now. Thanks for watching.